So welcome, Vanessa, Isaac, and Yoichi-san. I think this is the first time that we are having TikTok speak at APOS. So this is a sort of new introduction for us. So maybe as a starter, give us an understanding of the journey so far. So obviously TikTok kind of broke in as a new platform, but has scaled really rapidly. We estimate there's around 320 million users in just Southeast Asia alone. So give us an understanding of what was behind that rise and where you are today.
I think TikTok has been in the region for a number of years, and we have seen huge growth across Southeast Asia. And I think getting to 325 million across the region, and then we have the other markets in Korea and Japan and Australia across the rest of APAC. I think we've really built diverse communities, and we've really connected creators, publishers, and those communities on TikTok. And we've really seen the growth of those communities across the region. The diversity and the scale is what's been so fantastic to watch, and really interesting to see that diversity across the region. That's, I think, part of the success, and the authenticity and the way that we've been able to build those communities has been impressive.
We understand that a lot of what drove TikTok's rise has been the For You page and sort of that feed that people have been consuming, and a lot of it, especially in the beginning, would have been your shorter form video. And I think Ajay also touched on the journey from short to mid to longer form. Have you seen that evolution on the platform and how people are engaging with the platform? Do you see that movement? And of course, the product has evolved as well. Could you take us through that?
Yes. I think I need to clarify. When we say long videos, people usually think that a long video is, say, 50 minutes, 1 hour, more than 1 hour. But when we say long video, we mean 1 minute, 2 minutes. So still very short video from the industry standard. So, we see that these 1 minute, 2 minutes videos represent very well the high quality video. So either from top creators and from entertainment publishers. So we are seeing more and more, say, viewers prefer that type of high quality content and are spending more time with that. So the importance of that high quality video from professional entertainment partners, publishers, and top creators getting more and more important for our content ecosystem.
We talk a little bit more about the professionally generated or premium publisher content. How are you working with publishers in Asia and across these markets and bringing in that content, and why work with premium publishers in the first place? What is the role that that has on TikTok?
Yes, we have a lot of very impactful organic partnerships with many, the entertainment publisher, professional publisher partners across APAC countries, Japan, Korea, Southeast Asian market, and Australia, New Zealand. Those premium content is super important from two elements. One is that for general users of TikTok, we are getting more and more diversified users. Primarily mean we are getting more and more users from higher age groups, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And naturally, they prefer those professional contents they are super familiar with. So for those users, the partnerships with those professional publisher partners means a lot for those, the audiences to provide contents they want to see. And for creators, we have very strong fandom creator ecosystem here. So those, the professional content serve as core part of a snowball of a creation of the fan content. And those fan contents enables more viewership. And they have a very, very strong, powerful effect to interact with the general users, creators, publishers, users. So from that standpoint, we are expanding and extending our efforts to partnerships with the major publishing partners. So, of course, global top movie companies, TV companies, anime companies, and At this point, we are focusing on some selected global partners at this point. But we are, we should be soon ready to expand that program into other global markets as well.
How do you sort of stay on top of these trends? Because as you said, a lot of it is very organic, right? So how do you help premium publishers identify that and kind of help to monetize that further on the platform? Do you have some examples that you can share of a partnership in Asia, for example?
Yes, so maybe one example is that we had partnerships with Warner Brothers Discoveries for Dune Part 2 movie. And it's not direct monetization on TikTok, but helping them to promote that movie. So, the connecting with the big fandoms and viewership and ticket sales and merchandising sales. So, the TikTok is the very core part to connect our users into that type of monetization opportunities for that partner.
The one thing I would add is that as we see increased diversity of categories of content, whether it's format or definition or even content, as we distribute TikTok onto a more diverse set of surfaces, you're going to see what we think is best-in-class recommendation, putting the right video in front of the right user at the right time. So if a user is watching TikTok on a connected TV app, then they're going to more likely to see horizontal content, more likely to see longer form content, more likely to see HD content. And it's relatively straightforward to recognize when any particular consumer might be on their phone versus on TV versus on desktop versus on a tablet, et cetera, et cetera.
Thanks, Isaac. And I think you mentioned CTV and sort of non-mobile methods of accessing TikTok. I know it's early, but I know there's also several different ways that TikTok is trying to access customers. How is that performing so far? What has the adoption been like for the non-mobile aspect?
Sure. As we've heard today, connected TV represents a huge opportunity. I used to work at YouTube, so I'm acutely aware of the opportunity there. We have a connected TV app that's in its infancy. Over the course of the next 2 years, we'll see it grow in sophistication and distribution. Certainly, the magic of this TikTok experience, when you're waiting with your finger to move to the next video, is hard to replicate in the living room, and so we have to think about how we create that same level of magic in an environment in which you have multiple people sitting on the sofa, and so on and so on. But it's not only limited to the connected TV experience. Our strong belief is that the world is full of all manner of screens, and we should have a strong perspective on how we can distribute TikTok onto all of those. Some of those will be interactive in the way that mobile or TV might be, but some of those will be less interactive. And we feel like, given the breadth of the corpus of content that is on TikTok, we have the right video for every instance. So in-flight entertainment is a great example. Digital out-of-home is a great example. We've run a ton of very successful experiments in North America and Western Europe on how we can shoehorn monetizable experiences into the biggest billboards in the world. So trying to build the sort of mechanism for that level of scale is top of mind for us.
And are there particular channels, whether you mentioned out-of-home, in-flight entertainment, I think fast channels is one method as well. Is there any standout you have seen, or where do you think the potential is as you grow further in Asia?
Out-of-home is the most straightforward in as much as, it's not easy, but it's the most straightforward in as much as it provides opportunities for our advertising clients to present their ads with TikTok content sort of inserted in there. So that's proven to be quite successful. But I think if we can build the mechanisms for scale, then we can do everything everywhere. It's just a question of providing that conduit. You can imagine that within a relatively small partnerships organization, there's a finite number of partners with whom we can engage. And so we're at pains to build scalable resources to ensure that we can find the right partner can come to us and engage with this incredible corpus of content and put the right TikTok wherever it might be appropriate for them.
Got it. And I think exactly speaking about scale, Vanessa, I would love to understand kind of where you're going in terms of or how you approach telco partnerships in this region. What is the goal when you approach these partnerships? Because TikTok already has this scale. What is your sort of approach?
I think when you look at telcos across the region, you think of us as a business. Telcos are a hugely important partnership for all of us. They provide that layer of connectivity to our audiences. So working across the Asia region, our telco partners are hugely important. So whether it's just a base layer of connectivity or whether it's other types of partnerships, we're open to a lot, and we're doing a lot of really innovative work with the telcos. So friendly telcos that we have here, like Telkomsel and Singtel, True in Thailand, we're doing a lot of work with those guys to provide accessibility for our audiences across the Southeast Asia region, whether it's through good data bundles or good accessibility. We've done some really innovative partnerships in Indonesia, partnering with the Indonesian government and with Telco in Indonesia to provide connectivity to remote villages in kind of Sumatra. So as well as connectivity, we're providing them with education and onboarding them into our platforms, helping those communities digitalise. So I think telcos for us are really important, and we're always looking at really innovative, creative ways to drive consumption for the telco partners and to provide more access for our audiences as well and our consumers.
Got it. And I think another sort of element to TikTok, especially in some markets in Southeast Asia, has been the e-commerce or the shoptainment. Because the sort of real estate on the For You page is so sort of, you are trying to cater to every customer, how has the shoptainment entered into the picture? And what share of, for example, viewership is now shoptainment? How are you seeing adoption of that element on TikTok?
Look, I think e-commerce and shoptainment in this region is exploding, and I feel like I'm kind of reiterating what we heard on the YouTube panel and with Himanshu as well. So that is the challenge of going third on a panel. When you look at what's happening and what we're seeing on our platform from an e-commerce perspective, there's kind of two things to think about. One is that we're seeing massive trends and behaviour from TikTok itself. So when we talk to our consumers globally, we know that 1 in 4 consumers globally is actually going to research a product or to make a purchase after seeing content on TikTok. So driving those trends, and our communities on the platform are driving those trends. I think everybody in the audience today has probably heard about a product being sold off shelves off the back of a TikTok trend, or we're seeing huge impact from our BookTok community. So books that have been out of print for years are now being reprinted because the community on TikTok that's involved in BookTok is driving consumption of those books. So I think the first is to think about the trends that our communities on the platform are driving around the region. And then secondly, I think, when we talk about Southeast Asia specifically, shoptainment, as we like to look at it, is really exploding. We're really seeing consumers in Southeast Asia, they're expecting to be entertained now as they shop. So we did a piece of research with Accenture here in the region, and from that research we saw that 69% of our users and our audiences are expecting brands to be on the platform creating content for them in the next 1 to 2 years. So, kind of reiterating what Himanshu is seeing across his advertisers as well, our consumers are expecting to be entertained while they are shopping. We're seeing a lot of live content drive, purchase behaviour. We're seeing a lot of the creator economy really kind of opening up around shopping as well. So I think we're seeing huge volume around that. To give you an idea of scale, we have 15 million sellers on the platform now globally. So we have a huge amount of sellers on the platform now using that for live and short form shopping as well. So we're seeing huge growth. I'm also excited about seeing these trends come out of this region. So SEA is definitely driving a lot of those trends, and when we talk about the telcos and how they're kind of evolving with it, we're seeing telcos too build bundles, build accessibility around sellers and around creators coming on the platform to consume. So it's a really big trends coming out of Southeast Asia.
Since we're often lumped in with more, let's say, social products, TikTok is not inherently, it's not typically about like following what Vanessa had for lunch last week or things like that, but there are increasingly communication tools that are being built into the product that I think are really interesting. And so my wife and I are able to share a lot of content even as we have independent feeds that are not, let's say, that don't replicate those sort of social functions on other platforms, which I think is quite innovative and exciting way for sort of that groundswell of popularity to happen. The same way that I get Indonesian river cleaning videos, same as Vanessa.
Thank you so much, everyone. I think we covered community, e-commerce, premium publishers, so it's sort of encompassing a lot of different regions, elements in our industry. So thank you very much, Isaac, Vanessa, and Yoichi-san.